A Night of the Seven Kingdoms is just concluded, and I don't know about you, but that final shot made me well up and shed a tear. Following the epic trial of 7 in the penultimate episode, the finale to Season 1 of the show was all about going back to its roots and reminding us of what this show was truly about. And that's heart, human emotions, and how it took more than a sword and a shield to be a good man and a knight. With the comedic post-credits scene also shining a light on how Egg and Dunk's journey went full circle, let's break down the episode. We will discuss the important details, like the meaning of Sir Baratheon's story, and I'll share whether this finale was truly as impactful as it seemed. He was a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, Episode 6, Ending Explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. Lionel Baratheon's disappointment is central to the opening of this episode. The very first scene was embedded with subtle humor, yet underlined a profound character contrast. The difference in mindset between Lionel Baratheon and Sir Duncan the Tall over the death of Bor Targaryen was immediately evident. Duncan was clearly in mourning, his body and mind weighed down by the tragedy of Bor's death. Lionel, on the other hand, seemed almost detached, his thoughts preoccupied with the fact that his time in Ashford was nearing its end. His concern was not for the death of Bor, but for the impending return to Storm's End, a homecoming that he approached with a mix of dread and anticipation. In Lionel's mind, the tournament had been successful, a fact he repeatedly mentioned, yet he failed to comprehend the emotional gravity of the loss around him. During this scene, the attention to detail was remarkable. The antlers, symbolic of Baratheon heritage, appeared in various aspects of attire, reinforcing the family's pride and identity. Lionel's stick, aiding him after injuries, was shaped from what looked like a single massive antler, further emphasizing the visual storytelling. This stark contrast in mentality between Lionel and Duncan was not only visually portrayed, but thematically critical. Duncan blamed himself for Bor's death, feeling responsible for the pain and suffering experienced by those around him. This self-reproach lay at the heart of the episode, exploring themes of guilt, honor, and personal responsibility. Meanwhile, Lionel believed that Bor's death was insignificant. In his perspective, the dragon was meant to die, regardless of his inherent goodness. Lionel's disregard for Bor's sacrifice highlighted the complex moral fabric of the story. True heroism often goes unnoticed or misunderstood by the world around it. The future of Duncan seemed uncertain at the episode's onset, not just because of his mental state, but also due to his physical condition. The Maester claimed he was dying, yet this did not seem to reflect reality. Nevertheless, the suggestion of mortality loomed over Duncan, influencing his decisions and interactions. One potential direction for Duncan was accompanying Lionel Baratheon to Storm's End, an idea that lingered at the edge of his consciousness as the episode unfolded. Yet as events progressed, it became clear that Duncan's path was not aligned with the traditional expectations of nobility or comfort. He was, at his core, a hedge knight, molded by a life spent on the open road, guided by experiences and mentors like Saralan of Penny Tree. The influence of Saralan permeated Duncan's life in subtle yet profound ways. From the earliest moments of his journey, Duncan's character was shaped by the lessons imparted by Saralan. Even when faced with physical danger, such as being knocked down by Arryn, Duncan's actions reflected the moral and practical teachings of his mentor. Saralan's guidance acted as a moral compass, influencing decisions and fostering a sense of honor that defined Duncan throughout the season. The meaning of Saralan's story is pivotal in understanding the finale's emotional resonance. After initially refusing to allow Egg to squire for him at Summerhall, Duncan was confronted with Egg's remark, "Maybe you're not the knight that I thought you were." The weight of those words struck deep, as Duncan's identity as a knight was inseparable from his actions and the way he carried himself. His reflection led to a scene of profound symbolism. Saralan, sitting beneath a tree, recounting a story from the past. Knights, Saralan explained, had a tradition of nailing pennies into an oak tree before departing for war, and removing them upon returning. The sheer number of pennies reflected the countless knights who never came home. For Duncan, this narrative answered a lifelong question: why Saralan never knighted him. It was an act of protection, a decision born out of care rather than neglect. Saralan's choice illustrated the deep emotional bonds formed between mentor and protege, reinforcing the notion that guidance and moral responsibility often manifest in ways that are not immediately visible. Duncan's grief, shaped by Saralan's mentorship, extended beyond Bor's death. His mourning reflected layers of personal loss and abandonment, including the early hardships he faced after being left by his mother and navigating the treacherous streets of Flea Bottom. Through the support of close companions like Rafe and the guidance of Saralan, Duncan developed into the man and knight we witnessed. This distinction between Duncan and other characters such as Aerion and Daeron highlighted the transformative impact of mentorship and moral integrity. Saralan's influence ensured that Duncan's path was defined by honor, resilience, and compassion, setting him apart from others shaped by privilege or neglect. Duncan and Mar Targaryen shared parallel emotional experiences in this episode. Duncan's mourning for Bor, coupled with his sense of responsibility, contrasted sharply with Lionel's indifference. Mar, the one who delivered the fatal blow to Bor, carried the weight of guilt alongside Duncan. The near silence in Mar's demeanor underscored the profound emotional burden he bore, revealing the nuanced interplay between action, responsibility, and personal conscience. Mar's acknowledgement of his role, alongside Duncan's own reflection, emphasized the human element at the core of the narrative. Even heroes are vulnerable to doubt, remorse, and the complexities of moral decision-making. The episode also explored the potential future for Egg as a squire under Duncan's guidance. Duncan initially rejected the idea, reflecting his desire to shield Egg from the hardships and moral complexities he had faced. However, Mar's insistence and the comparison to Aerion's earlier behavior illuminated the risks and responsibilities inherent in mentorship. Egg's white Targaryen hair beginning to grow back symbolized the latent potential and inherent dangers of his lineage. The narrative demonstrated that guidance, environment, and personal choice collectively shape character, illustrating the delicate balance between heritage and individual development. The scene where Egg contemplated confronting Aerion with a knife encapsulated this theme. Egg's potential for violence mirrored the darker paths of his brothers, yet the intervention of Mar prevented the cycle from repeating. This moment underscored the importance of mentorship, moral guidance, and the influence of key relationships in shaping destiny. Duncan's eventual acceptance of Egg as a squire, under the conditions of traveling together, reflected a nuanced approach to responsibility, balancing freedom, experience, and ethical oversight to nurture growth without replicating the mistakes of the past. Sir Arlan's appearance in the closing moments reinforced the enduring impact of mentorship. Riding alongside Duncan and Egg, Sir Arlan symbolized the continuation of guidance and moral instruction beyond life. His departure, leaving Duncan and Egg to their journey, represented the transfer of knowledge, values, and honor from one generation to the next. The finale's emotional resonance hinged upon these thematic elements, the interplay of responsibility, mentorship, and the shaping of character across time and circumstance. In terms of narrative structure, the episode functioned as an epilogue, providing closure while expanding upon the long-term implications of prior events. The aftermath of Bor's death, the societal and emotional reverberations, and the individual journeys of characters like Duncan, Mar, and Egg were explored in depth. The writing emphasized human emotion, moral complexity, and the subtle interplay of actions and consequences, reinforcing the thematic heart of the series. From a production standpoint, the episode excelled within budgetary constraints. Despite limited resources compared to larger productions like House of the Dragon, the show achieved remarkable immersion and visual storytelling. Set design, costuming, and attention to detail contributed to a sense of authenticity, while the narrative maintained focus on character-driven drama rather than spectacle. The composer, Dan Roma, provided a score that amplified the emotional resonance, highlighting the relationships between Duncan, Saralan, and Egg, and punctuating moments of triumph, loss, and reflection. In conclusion, the finale of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms provided a rich, emotionally layered conclusion to the season. The narrative successfully combined mentorship, moral responsibility, personal growth, and the complexities of human emotion into a coherent and impactful arc. Key characters like Duncan, Egg, Mar, Lionel, and Raymond Fossaway were given nuanced, meaningful conclusions, while the thematic exploration of guidance, honor, and legacy remained central. The finale set the stage for future seasons, promising continued exploration of character development, ethical dilemmas, and the intricate tapestry of Westerosi society. The finale left viewers with a clear understanding of the series' heart. True heroism and growth are forged through experience, guidance, and ethical reflection, rather than mere power or heritage. Duncan and Egg's journey epitomized this principle, showcasing the transformative potential of mentorship and the enduring influence of moral integrity across generations. As the series moves forward, the foundations laid in this finale ensure that character-driven storytelling, emotional depth, and thematic richness will remain central, providing fertile ground for future narrative exploration.